Okay, I am Maxis Slight and welcome back to 7 Days to Die tutorials. I'm going to cover today a few little bits and pieces, kind of amalgamated in. What I'm going to cover is temperature, structural integrity, nerd polling, which I'll explain as I get there, and traders. So first off, we spoke right at the beginning about our welfare and survival. Part of this is the temperature. Now, excessive heat and excessive cold can affect your character to the point of making them immobile, much more vulnerable, and eventually death, which is not a good thing. So here the temperature, as you can see, is rising ever so slightly because of the environment, and also one of the most important things is clothing. Now, if you click on a piece of clothing, it gives you a very long list of stats about that piece of clothing. This is its armor values, and over here is the important one that we're talking about. This duster gives me plus 30 Fahrenheit to my heat. So right now I'm at 70 odd and rising. If I put this on and then go back to my character, you can see that I've still got the cool drink buff, so that's not going to help. As you can see, it's rising more rapidly, and it will exceed any safe level because I'm already kind of at the level where I want to be. So if you're in a cold environment, very good to put the duster on. On the opposite side of the scale, if you're too hot, there is the leather poncho. Now, unlike the duster you can find loot. It cannot be crafted, as far as unless they've added it. Let's quickly check. Nope, the duster cannot be crafted. It needs to be found or bought at a trader. The poncho, however, let's quickly just grab myself some leather, see if my skills are any good. No, we've done that. Okay, so leather poncho, let's quickly craft one. It'll take 40 seconds. Now the poncho, it has lower stats on the armor than the duster, but I'm thinking that's because it's lower level. You need leather to repair it, but temperature wise it drops down by 20 degrees. So if you're getting hot, slap on a poncho, and now you can see my temperature is going down quite quickly. Okay. Also, other effects you can get are, I can only make, I think that's because of my skills. Okay, let's check this out. Let's put these side by side, and let's see if quality actually affects it. Now that's 20%, 20 degrees for the insulation. These seem to be generic. Okay. The quality affects the armor values. Okay, so and the price that you can sell it. So be aware of that. Doesn't have any effect on the cooling abilities. So a level 1 or level 600 is going to cool you or heat you exactly the same. Okay, so go back to my temperature, and as you can see, that's now going down quite rapidly, as we were saying. There are other things that can affect your temperature. Now, if we go into our house real quick, we've got all the furnaces and everything going in here. We are warmed by the fire. That will warm our core temperature by 43%. Okay. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we get out of here because we don't want that buff anymore. You've got the cool drink, which are things like red tea, yucca juice. Yucca juice I think is better actually. Let's quickly. So it's a cool drink. No, it seems to be the same. Okay. So you get the cool drink buff, which drops your temperature by 14%. and that lasts for a while, 12 minutes. So if you are hot and you have got your poncho on, like let's say in the desert or the burning biome or whatever, you can use drinks to cool you down, or you can build a fire to warm you up. Okay, the other one really, I'm going to cheat and fly. The other really quick one, I'm in the cheat mode, so, is this guy here, the trader. You find yourself a trader, you get a quest form, they look like that on the map. You can, as we spoke about before, I've just made that a really bad spelling. Let's try that again. Fat fingers on a small keyboard, I'm afraid. Right. It's not a small keyboard, it's a regular size, but fat fingers. So we found a trader. And inside here, there's a world of good stuff. You've got a chem station. Oh, that one's destroyed. That's not very useful. Well, it's got some stuff in it. I wouldn't see why they would put destroyed ones in the world. You've got a forge, if you can't find one. Vending machines, which you can... I think you can use these to sell your stuff on. I'm not 100% sure how they work. You can't destroy, as you hear that sound, you can't break anything here. So the traders are protected. And we're going to go and have a look now for the trader. Where is he? Hello. Oh, in here we've got a workbench. That one's destroyed as well. Well, it's got a claw hammer in it. That's nice. I wouldn't know why they put destroyed items in the trader. That's unusual. Usually you've got ones you can use, but maybe that's an Alpha 16 thing. Okay, so you've got some useful things here. You've got a cement mixer if you can't make one yet. So, you know, they are of use. We go into the trader guy, and here he is. Trader Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy.
At least wipe that shit off your boots before you come into my shop.
Ah, bollocks. So, Jimmy's a nice guy, as you can see. And let's...
I'd go broke with more customers like you.
Shut up. Right, we'll get some dukes. Now, these are the tokens you can find around the world, or...
Damn, you smell like the dead. You better have money.
Yes, I have, Joe. Right, calm down, Jimmy. Calm down. Okay. You can buy stuff here or sell stuff. Now, if I was to sell that leather duster we spoke about, up here it's 1,023 dukes. So if I sell that, I have more dukes. And over here, you can buy things. Oh, the mining helmet. Always useful to have a mining helmet. Let's buy that. Oven. That's just for show. You can't really use it for much, but it looks cool. Azalea again, decorations. What else has he got? Mattress, buckshot, blueberry pie. Oh, we'll buy that. That looks nice. Oh, you can buy a crossbow here. That's nice. So what you would do is sell all your gear and then buy and sell stuff back to him.
A sale
now,
is a sale.
There are.
It's to a scumbag like you.
Fuck you, Jimmy. I'm talking to these nice people. Right, so there are skills involved that you can change how much money you get with the crafter and what kinds of items he has. Now, you have barter here, which gives you a price modifier, so how much he pays and how much you pay. So you pay less and he pays more. And then you have this one, secret stash. Very, very important for the higher bonus stuff later. You can access it at any level.
You better not bring any diseases into my store.
Jimmy, I don't really like you, dude. I think you're a bit of a dick. So anyway, along here is all the items he has. You can check them out by page. Going through them. He's selling that duster he bought of us for 1,100 for 4,000. Such a nice guy. But you click on the secret stash, and here is all the really good stuff. Okay, this is all the stuff top end, and there are certain things in the game You can see you can buy the decoration things here, schematics, mini bike chassis, and these here can only be bought from a trader. Okay, so let's put in solar. He's only got the solar banks at the moment.
You're
Okay,
getting on my nerves, friend.
but if we go into here later on, you need the solar bank and the solar cells. I think you can actually craft the solar bank. Give me a second. No. Is it under skills? Solar? No. So you can only buy the solar bank
Everything's for sale. Even
from
to an idiot like you.
Jimmy or one of the other nicely. Some of them are actually quite nice. I just managed to find an idiot. You can buy the solar bank, and that acts as a storage for solar cells, which we'll talk about later.
Browse your ass right out of my store.
We'll talk about solar cells and everything later, but there are certain items that can only be bought from a trader. So let's head back really quick to our little shack over here and talk about the last thing on the list for today, and that's a biggie. Is solar power? No, it's not. That's me talking to Jimmy. Structural integrity. Okay, now let's work with wooden frames to start with. We know about placing frames and building up. We can build up as high as we can reach. You can put a ladder on it and climb up because we've done that already. Okay, one other real, before we get into structural integrity, sorry, I will tell you one more thing called nerd polling. Now, let's say there's something high up there you want to get. Some people consider this cheating. I personally think it's part of the game, so therefore it's fine. The way you nerd pole is because you can't put a block in a square in which you're standing. But if you jump and press the right mouse button, you will jump up and place one beneath your feet. And using this method, you can get to very high parts that you can't necessarily get to before. So maybe you want to jump across to here, and I missed, but never mind. Okay? But you see the point. I was one too high. That's nerd polling. It also helps if you get stuck underground, if you dig your way up and use nerd polling to get out. So that's a skill that's involved that some people consider cheating. I don't, because it's part of the game, but it's not necessarily an exploit. If you feel comfortable using it, by all means. Okay, structural integrity. If we look at this building here, it's built as in a normal building. Okay, everything is built, secured. Now there are two types of support. There are supported by pillar, which in this sense I mean the ground, the earth's base material. So something touching the ground becomes a pillar, and then supported by face. Now this is all supported by pillar because every part of it at some point is connected to something that touches the ground. However, if we was to build out, right out here, there would be a limit to how much it would take before it collapses, and it's an easy equation to work that out. You go into the information for the frame, and here you have max load of 40 and the mass is 5. So that means you can put 8 of these out on a face that is supported by a pillar. Sounds complicated, but what I mean is this whole building is supported by a pillar, so it has perfect structural integrity. If I was to build that one on there, that one is part of the pillar. This block becomes the pillar block. But this face I'm pointing at there isn't connected to a pillar. The back face is. Okay, so this is the first face where structural integrity, mass and load becomes important. So what I mean is you have one free that's attached to the building or attached to the ground and at no height, and then you can start to build out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, as our equation told us, we can have 8 blocks on the face and it will support it. That's the load that face can take. Now, if we put another one up there, the whole thing collapses. Okay, the whole thing will collapse. But if we 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, now that's our unsupported maximum load. Now we come down from there. God, I hate doing this because I'm always in the wrong place. And we put. Okay, so this is sometimes when nerd poling comes in handy. If we put a grounded pillar there, we can now connect those up, and the load is supported evenly and easily. So we had the same amount as we did before, but because we had this pillar in place first, this all becomes sharing the load between the two pillars. Yep. And the mass and load is exactly the same, whether it's a filled block or an empty block. Okay. Now, what if you do a combination of blocks, or you're doing different blocks? It's easy. Again, you look at this. Max load for a scrap metal frame is 320 is the max load, and each one masses out at 20. So that's 5 per 100, which gives us 15, plus an extra one. That's 16 we could put out of these. Let's see. First one's 3, 1, 2, and they collapsed. That wasn't 1, 2, 3. Don't know why that happened. Oh, I think that's, yes, that's because the freight face there. Let's deal with it on this. Right. 6, 11. Okay, so as you can see, we are having issues with this. 120. I don't know whether my maths is correct. That's 20 divided by 320 divided by 20. So that's 32 divided by 2, which is 16. For some reason that's not working out. Let's see them. Okay, what it does happen to include the face value of the pillar you're attaching it to. So let's quickly pull a nerd pole up and see if that makes a difference. Now this should be the mass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, going to go down the road, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, and 16. Okay, because that's gone too far out. So it's holding on to those. I don't know whether that's a new face. And there you go. One too many, 16, 17, and then it collapses. Okay, so you get the idea. You have to take into consideration when you're building outwards, you have to take into consideration the maximum load. And the reason that this one collapses quite quickly on the wooden one is because it has a maximum load of 40, and each one of these, hello, each one of these is 20. So we've got the load of 40 on there. Now we put 60 on and it collapses. Simple as that, okay? Oh, and if you have not got things supported from below, if you do take out the support, so let's say a zombie does take your support out, your whole thing is going to come down. Okay? That, in a nutshell, is structural integrity. So when you are building bigger structures or wide structures, you need to take into consideration the block you are attaching to, the max load of that block. You can always find it by going into your, let's go block here, and it can tell you the bulletproof glass hasn't got any because you can't really build. I don't think that works. But bricks, once you, I think you need one in your inventory actually. Yeah, because the inventory. So you need to craft one, and then it will give you the information. So that's that. I thought it might give you the information here, but it doesn't. Remembering that each block has its load capacity and weight, and if it's not on the ground. Within that weight, bam, it drops. We can put more on this one because it has a higher load capacity than the wooden one. I'm just going to build this one till it collapses. Hello? I think it's got, there we go. And that's that. So also remember the thing, another thing to remember, a mistake I made. Let's quickly find that ground. Okay. The ground has a mass, okay, of 10. Now, first time I played this game, I built a lovely little house, square, with some pillars, and it was up on the raised so the zombies can get there. I could shoot down, and I built up for my crafting area, and I built up on top. I built a farm, which I thought was a really good idea. However, the mass of the wooden blocks is 5. So I was using that equation, okay, and built out my area, so as far as I could, and supporting it for the mass of the wood. And I didn't take into account that some things are heavier, including putting raised gardens and raised earth. So if you were to put the earth up, you can put that up like this, but it will also collapse. Okay, so bear that in mind when you are building and crafting and making these wonderful constructions. I'm sure you're going to. Structure integrity is a thing. It's a little bit derpy sometimes, but you've got to just play with it, figure out the mass versus the load capacity. It's very simple, and the low capacity means that it must be touching the ground between that capacity. So at some point along the maximum capacity you need a pillar. Simple? I know it sounds confusing, but it's really not once you get into it. So really quick recap, we've covered some temperature, we've covered some nerd polling, how to do it, whether you want to do it or not, that's up to you. We've looked at traders and their secret stash, and we've looked at structural integrity, and we've made a hell of a mess. All in all, a good day at the office. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. Take care. Ta-da.